All right, welcome back, listeners, to another episode of BC Spark Radio. We got a lot of topics chalked up to talk about today, all the way from Thanksgiving to national sports. So our first segment, we got Jalissa White-Jones and Sidney Beck here to discuss a holiday that's coming up, Thanksgiving. We're talking about local things going on campus events. Also, they're just going to talk about their own Thanksgiving traditions and what they're doing for the holidays. So we're gonna go ahead and give it a.
Hey everyone, my name is Jalissa White-Jones.
Hey, I'm Sidney.
And today we're going to be talking about some campus events and some local things that are going on around Thanksgiving time. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is on Thursday the 21st, the KCC will be having our traditional Thanksgiving meals going on. So you can just come on down around 4 and 7 p.m. and enjoy some real good holiday Thanksgiving meals.
Oh man. What's your favorite thing they have there?
I think last year they had like a green bean casserole and I fell in love with that.
I was really going to say that. Like they have like the nice like sauce on it and it's just like it's not too bad. Like it's the one thing that isn't bad there.
It was spot on. And then they had ham, and I thought I was gonna start crying because I'm just like, man, I really miss having ham. And they also had some rolls, and I was in heaven, man. I was
oh my
just
god, there was rolls. Like I love.
Oh, it was a good time. Like I just sat there. I'm just like, man, I would marry this plate right now. But yeah, I love it. And it's a good way to like hang out with friends too, because I had like table full of like my roommate, my friends, my somewhat roommates, but not really, and we were just all having a good old time, just laughing and carrying on.
That's good. Also in Bridgewater, the ice skating rink, it's Generations Park, I believe.
Yeah, Generations Park.
Opens up on November 28th, which is also Thanksgiving Day. It's a Thursday.
And just a friendly reminder to Bridgewater students, if you come with your ID, you get in for free, and please take up the opportunity, because it's really fun. Hang out with friends, you got lights above you that are changing colors, music, it's fun time, and it's free, and I know.
Even if you're not really good at ice skating, they have walkers there for you, and you can...
Or just do like me and hold on to the rail and not move at all and just watch everyone else skate away and be like, I'm good from right where I am. You guys go. It's fine. It's okay. Maybe I'll move like an inch or two. Be like, I did it.
It took me a while. Actually, I did learn how to skate eventually. But like, I still fall sometimes.
Yeah, I'm more of a like roller skating person because you got 4 wheels. So, yeah.
And then they have like the little kids that kind of stop in front of you.
But
and then it's
so
like...
cute looking at them go. I'm just like, you're doing it. Keep going. You're doing great. You're doing way better than I ever could. So just keep going. But yeah, it's definitely a fun time. I mean, it is crowded, but I don't mind it. More body heat, the better, because it's freezing.
And they have those little like fires now where you can
that's
so cool.
I had a friend that tried to stick her hand in it for some odd reason. I don't know. We were just looking at her. We're like, really? Okay. She's like, is it real? I'm like, yes, very much so. She's like, are the rocks hot? I'm like, yes, very much so. But yeah, it was a really good time. Have you been multiple times before?
Yeah, actually, I live in the area too, so
okay,
a bunch of my friends and I usually go.
All right.
Yeah, my boyfriend, he's actually from Florida, and you would think he would just like suck at ice skating, but he was like really good at it. Like he was better than me. Like he was doing laps around me.
Oh wow.
And I was just kind of like, you're from Florida. Like, aren't you supposed to be like afraid of like snow or something?
Or just be like, what is that white thing coming from the sky?
But anyways, okay. So what are you doing for the holidays?
For the holidays, I will be working most of it, but on Thanksgiving Day, I will be helping my mother cook us a nice traditional Thanksgiving meal and sleeping. That is my ideal plan, because oh my gosh, you have no idea. I can't wait. Like I just want to plop in my bed, watch some Netflix, and just not be bothered. Like yes, I will bond with family to some extent, but at the same time, just let me be. Let me eat my mashed potatoes, my sweet potatoes, ham, yes, green bean casserole, and let me just enjoy my Netflix in peace until we come back to school. So yeah, what about you? What are you doing?
So usually every year we have like 3 Thanksgivings, because I have like my mom wants to do her own Thanksgiving, and then I have 2 grandmas, and we haven't like there's rare years where we're like all of us will get together as a family. We usually end up having one Thanksgiving with like my mom's side of the family and my grandma on that side, and then I ended up having like another Thanksgiving on my dad's side with like all that family.
Yeah.
But this year my parents decided, you know what? We're not gonna go have Thanksgiving with the grandmas like we usually do. We're gonna take a family trip. Now, keep in mind, I haven't had a family trip with my parents and my older brother since I was maybe, like, 8. I don't really remember the last time we had one.
Mm-hmm.
So they just, like, thought this is the great opportunity to have one in 2019. Years
Family
later.
bonding!
Family bonding. So we're going to drive 9 hours in a car to Savannah, Georgia, in holiday traffic. I don't know why I thought this was a good idea. They just, like, laid it on me last week. They're like, oh, hey, by the way, we're going to go take a trip for Thanksgiving.
So, like, when are you guys leaving? Like, the day before Thanksgiving?
Yeah, we're gonna go like the day before Thanksgiving, and then we'll be there the 28th, and then I think we're coming back like that Friday, Black Friday, or Saturday.
Okay.
I feel like Black Friday would be like a horrible time to be traveling.
Yes, because you know Black Friday itself is a sport, so everyone's gonna be out there like trying to find the best deals and speeding and whatnot. Like, oof. I think I'm working on Black Friday, and I'm scared for myself, for the other customers. I'm just like, I'm gonna come back with like my shirt shredded, my hair all sideways, my glasses
have,
like cracked and whatnot.
All the Karens and like the boomers.
Yeah.
Like, excuse me.
I'm gonna probably have like dust or like sparkles and Christmas cards and paper cuts and oh my gosh, I'll be probably called every name in the book. I'm like, I'm trying to help you, but oof. I give it to people that stand in line for that long period of time just to find something.
The thing that always like kills me are like the technology stores.
Yeah.
Like Best Buy or like the Apple stores. People like people will camp.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, look, it's not worth it.
Yeah,
man. Like,
I know. Mm-hmm. Definitely. I work at a Hallmark store, and like our biggest thing is ornaments. And I kid you not, people will camp outside the store until we open so they can get those ornaments on time. And like, there's no discounts. You can't use coupons or any of that stuff. And I'm just like, oh my. Like, I remember, they're
paying full price.
They're paying full price, and they really want the limited ones that like once we're sold out, that's it. You can't get any more. It's just a done deal. And they will like glare at you. They're like, I want that one right there. Why can't you give it to me? I'm just like, well, you have to wait in line like the rest of us, you know, to get your ornament. But I'm just trying to do my job. So please, can you not yell at me? Because I have feelings too. But it's totally fine. It's fine. I did Black Friday shopping one time. Never again. That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to stay home because shop online.
My mom was like always like Cyber Monday. She's like, I'm doing your Christmas shopping Cyber Monday, so I better have your lists ready because that's the only day I'm buying stuff.
I mean, that's like the smart thing to do. Yeah, because you're in the comfort of your home. As long as your computer doesn't crash, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine. You don't have to deal with people yelling at you, cursing you out, maybe your parents yelling at you to get off the computer, but it's fine. It's okay. So I definitely prefer that than actually going out there, shoving someone, elbowing the other, possibly like, you know, having to punch someone, be like, I saw the TV first, back off, or just, you know, or trying to like fight someone for a parking spot, be like, my car was a little bit incher closer to the parking spot than you, so I think it's mine. Just like back off.
Or if you have your blinker on, they'll just be like, they'll be like, yeet.
Yeet. Just be like, skirt. And I'm like, nope, it's A-okay. And the mall, oh my word. I'm going to stay clear. I'm going to find every back road I can to stay away from the mall in my area because it's not worth it. It's really not. Like, whatever I want, I can wait for it because I'm not. Oof, people. Okay.
Yeah. I'm excited to go to Savannah, Georgia because, like, I haven't been there since I was, like, that's probably the last family trip we took was to Savannah, Georgia when I was 8. But, like, I don't know. It's just all complicated now because, like, I was 8.
Yeah.
And my brother was, like, 11. And now, or I guess he was, like, I don't know, 13. Mm-hmm. But now, like, he's 25 and I'm 20. And I'm like, look, like, I don't spend that much time with you. Mm-hmm. I don't want to spend that much time with you all. But, like, you know, it's the family holiday. So,
do you guys, like, have family down there as well?
No. Well, I have an uncle that lives in Florida, but he's probably not going to come up. But, like, my parents really don't like it down there.
It's warm, so why not?
Yeah. My mom's like, it might not be as warm, but, like, and, like, some stuff will be open, but, like, we'll have fun.
Yeah,
and I'm
definitely.
Just like, what?
I mean, I like it down there, too, because, like, I have family in Augusta, and it's always fun to, like, go down there during the holiday seasons, because it's just really pretty down there, and it's peaceful, it's quiet, and then you have that real home-style Southern food. And I'm just like, man, that is it right there. That is the spot. But, yeah, I'm happy, and I will pray for you and a family not to kill each other on that way down.
9 hours. I'm just like, oh.
You got this.
Lord.
You got this.
I expect to do all the homework I don't do, you know? Like.
Oh, yeah. Okay, doing homework during Thanksgiving. Okay.
But anyways.
But, yeah, have fun.
Thanks.
Have fun for the both of us and maintain your sanity.
I'll do my best.
Yes.
You know, I'll just eat, like, my feelings and food. It's going to be fine.
Yeah. And for everyone else that's going Black Friday shopping, please be careful, safe.
Don't get arrested, please.
Don't get arrested.
It's not worth it.
If you do have to elbow someone, I'm all for it, but besides that, please be careful.
Yeah, well, we hope everybody has a great holiday, Thanksgiving, and make sure you guys come out to the KCC Thanksgiving because they actually do have decent food.
And overall, if you guys are traveling, please be safe.
Well, happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
All right, bye guys.
All right, thank you, Jalissa and Sidney, for that coverage on what's going on with Thanksgiving this year. And I hope everybody's delighted and excited to chow down with the family and spend some good quality time. Up next, we got Dean Barker and Ayinde Roberts. They'll be talking about national sports, everything from the allegations from Mike Fiers, the 49ers being beaten, and there being no more undefeated teams in the NFL, to LSU even beating Alabama, and many things more. So we're going to go ahead and give it away to them.
Good evening and welcome to National Sports on BC Voice Radio. My name is Dean Barker.
And I'm Ayinde Roberts.
And we're looking forward to, let's get into it. So what we're going to start with is, in the NFL, there are no more unbeaten teams. Seattle Seahawks upset the 49ers. It was a Monday night and handed them their first loss. It was a 27-24 victory in overtime. This was the game of the year.
Right now, we're like around the halfway mark of the season. This is already like one of the best games that we've seen so far. Obviously, it was the game of the week. Both teams really came out to play. It was really interesting that the Seahawks really felt like they exposed some of the 49ers offense.
Yeah. The 49ers got held to 87 rushing yards. You're not going to beat anybody like that.
And that's really I feel like is very that's interesting that happened, because you got two really good backs with the 49ers and holding them to just that so few yards. That's like props to the Seattle defense.
Yeah, the Seattle defense was phenomenal. They got held They won the total yards battle 336 to 302 from the 49ers. The 49ers did okay on passing, but was it Jimmy Garoppolo? He threw 46 attempts. He only completed 24 of them. He threw for 248 yards. He outthrew Russell Wilson, but he just threw the ball too much. And they need to work on their running game. I mean, they're obviously a great team, but you're going to get down to the playoffs. You might see the Seahawks again. I don't know. You're going to run into the same problem. So I think the 49ers should learn from this because, I mean, if they're going to need to work on their rushing or they're just not going to be a Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
Another thing we wanted to talk about from this game is it's been kind of controversial. The coin flip afterwards, Geno Smith was asked whether he wanted heads or tails. The referee said that he heard he heard tails.
No, he heard heads.
Yeah, he heard heads, and the internet's blown up. Some people are arguing it's the sports Lurliani. So, I mean, let's see. You want to play it?
I mean, I think like it's very interesting. Like this was weird. Like you can audibly hear that he says tails, but the ref calls heads. And some people might chalk that up to some people will say that this is an example of the NFL being rigged. I think this is just mishearing. But I know people are asking the question, would that have changed the outcome of the game? Honestly,
we don't
probably
know.
not. I don't think it would have.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the interesting thing is Geno didn't really give much of a reaction when he said heads. I mean, it was an awkward reaction. Like he kind of moved his arms. Like we couldn't really tell if he was questioning or like what he was doing. So we'll learn about that later. Up next, we want to talk about Oakland A's pitcher Mike Fiers is accusing the Houston Astros of cheating during the 2017 World Series and playoffs. He recently, I think it was just yesterday, he came out and said that they were using cameras from the outfield to like steal signs from the other teams. This is wild because the Astros won their first ever World Series that year. They almost won the World Series this year. They pushed it to 7 games. But what I find odd about this is, well, I will say the Astros are cooperating with the investigation. I think it's odd that Fiers came out so late after it happened. He didn't say this when he got when he wasn't brought back by the Astros. He didn't say it while it was going on. So we could say,
yeah, but that's the thing, right? Like you see this a lot, not just in sports, but just in general. When you have sort of controversies, they happen. They always come out like years after whatever the alleged action had happened. I mean, this one, I agree with you like 100%. This is very odd to come out 2 years after the fact. I mean, props to the Astros for being cooperative with the investigation. I mean, what else? I mean, but what if you don't? I mean, that really hurts your organization.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't cooperate, that's gonna basically say that you did it. What I think is interesting is, I mean, Mike Fiers. I hate to rag on the guy. He doesn't have a very good track record with like controversy and things like that. In 2014, he hit Giancarlo Stanton. Nobody thinks that it was intentional, but later in the game, he also threw it inside on another batter, and that caused the benches to clear. And then in 2017, the year they won the World Series, he was suspended with the Astros because he threw at Luis Valbuena's head, and that ended up in him not playing in the playoffs with the Astros. So the question we have to ask is he doing this to get back at them for not playing him in the World Series? I don't know. I mean, if he had come out while it was going and if he had come out and admitted to it like while it was going on, I think everybody would have said good on him for like doing the right thing. The fact that he waited kind of makes me wonder what his motives were. And if I'm because Fiers is going to be a free agent after this year. If I'm another team, I'm looking at him and I'm questioning. I really don't know what to say. Like, am I going to want this guy on my team or not?
It's a matter of integrity. Like if this was important to you, like why wouldn't you say something right after? You could have waited till the World Series was over, then say something. Why wait 2 years? It's been at this point, what can you do?
I mean, he probably would. I mean, maybe he was concerned that if he said something, he would get released. I mean, but he might get in trouble now because he waited so long. So
he was really caught in a no-win situation. He probably just thought he was going to take the lesser of two evils. Yeah.
So up next, LSU beat Alabama 46-41. It was at Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime Alabama loses, it's huge. This game, honestly, LSU's a great team. No one's taking that away from them. But, I mean, Alabama didn't really show up in this game until the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and even if you really look at like the stats and stuff, you would think like, oh yeah, LSU is gonna be like, oh, this insane team. But honestly, in terms of yardage, like LSU and Alabama were really close. Like passing yards, they were neck and neck in total yards, and Alabama even really outplayed them in the air. And for total yards, they have more yards per pass. Even they had Tua threw one interception, but it's still one interception. But he still also threw 4 touchdowns.
I mean, LSU had 559 yards. Alabama had 541. I mean, you look at
that's 18-yard difference.
Yeah, you look at the box score throughout the game. LSU went cold in the third quarter. I mean, Alabama was just kind of like there for the first 3, but it was still looking like LSU was going to win this game. And Alabama comes out and scores 21 points in the fourth quarter and makes a game out of it. But, I mean...
And this really hurts Alabama now because I think... And we look at the college football rankings right now.
Yeah, this is wild.
They are...
For the first time in a long time, Alabama is out of the top 4 in the college football playoff rankings.
Yeah, right now the top 4 is LSU, Ohio State, Clemson, and Georgia.
Yeah,
color me impressed.
Georgia and Alabama have had some intense fights over the last 2 years, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw them. Well, LSU's at the top, so we'll be interested to see what happens between Alabama and Georgia throughout the rest of the year. Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yep. So, all right, that's gonna do it for us here on BC Voice for National Sports. I'm Dean Barker,
and I'm Ayinde,
and we'll catch you later.
All right. Shout out to Dean and Ayinde for giving us the rundown on what's going on in national sports, and that was a shocker that LSU beat Bama in Tuscaloosa. but we know what's going down. Roll Tide no more. Up next, we got a student interview with Lexi Brown, where she's going to be interviewing Danielle Morgan, a student leader here on campus, about her experience, her involvement, and what the future holds within the BC realm. So we're going to go ahead and let them take it away.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to BC Voice Spark Radio. Got a very special guest for you tonight. Here with me is Danielle Morgan. Danielle, thank you for coming out tonight.
Thank you for having me tonight.
You're very welcome. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. It's really cold out here, but
It
doing
is
good.
very cold lately. I can't stand it. But anyways, Danielle, we're here to learn more about you. The listeners, we want to know who you are and your experience here at Bridgewater. So for those who don't know, where are you from?
Okay, so I'm originally from New Jersey. So it's a small town called Hillside. It's right next to Newark, which is a bigger city, about 20 minutes outside of New York. But yeah, I moved to Virginia when I turned 12, like around 12. I had my seventh grade year in Virginia, and I moved to Williamsburg, Virginia, and we've been there since. And now my new location, I guess, is Bridgewater, Virginia.
Well, that's crazy. Is there a reason, like, you moved around? Like, what led you, like, parents moving around? What happened?
Well, my mom, she was in the military for 20 years, so she likes to move around, not stay in one place for too long. And she lived in New Jersey for about, like, maybe 20 years. And she decided that she wanted to move somewhere more southern. So we visited Virginia a few times in my childhood, and she just really fell in love with the area, the people, just basically everything about it. So just one day she just up and said, hey, we're moving to Virginia when you guys finish school. So made it to Virginia.
All right. How do you feel about Virginia since being here? So if your mom seems to love it, do you feel the same way? What's your opinion on it?
Honestly, I was a little against moving here at first because it was so different. It's a very big culture shock compared to New Jersey, especially the city of New Jersey. I'm sorry. The city part of New Jersey. And yeah, so it was definitely a culture shock, but now that I've been here, I honestly feel like it was a good move for us. It's a lot easier to get around here. It's a lot safer, and yeah, I'm okay with it.
So you came around eventually.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So now, what led you to Bridgewater College itself? How'd you end up finding this little area? Like, what led you here?
Well, their marketing team is amazing, and they just sent a lot of letters to my home and all that, and they sent the early application, and they were just like apply. And during college week, I was touring some schools. My original top choice was Virginia Tech. And when I went to go tour them, that campus was so big and it was so much. I realized right there I did not like big schools. So I started looking more towards D2, D3 schools. And I toured a few other campuses, and they just, every campus I went to just didn't have one element that originally got me interested, that made me want to go to their school. Mary Washington didn't have a football team, and I'm like, I love football season. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so as I went through the schools during college week, I came here. I loved it here. It was beautiful. They offered a lot of money. They had all the programs I wanted. They set you up really well, and yeah, so I committed.
All right. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm very happy you're here. I'm sure a lot of people are.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your major?
I am a business art double major.
Oh, busy, I'm assuming.
Yes.
And for those of you who don't know, I know Danielle. She's the president of the CEO club here on campus, and there's way much more she's involved in than just that. So that kind of leads me into our next topic. What all are you involved in? Because I know there's so much. Tell the people what all you do.
Alrighty, okay. This is a loaded question.
Get your pen and pads out, because it's quite the list.
So, as she said, I'm the president of the CEO club. I was a member of Active Minds for about, maybe a full year at one point. I'm still involved with them. I got the little bracelet on now, actually. I was a brother. I still am technically a brother of APO, the Alpha Phi Omega fraternity frat here on campus. And they're a service frat. I am a cheerleader. Sorry, I almost forgot about that one. I'm a cheerleader, and I cheer for all 4 years, and I also work as a digital scholarship guru here on campus, which is a program that helps students with digital media and other type of specialized stuff like that.
I'm
But
always
yeah.
in the office. I constantly need help.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
the work you do.
Oh, thank you. I think that's it that I'm on campus for. And then I also have, like, besides that job, I also have 2 other jobs as well. I work at Domino's as a delivery driver, and I also caretake for an older lady, Miss Betty Klein. Her family is the Kleins, so the Campus Klein Center, the KCC, and her husband founded the art department here on campus. So yeah, he started it.
I hope, did you guys write all of that down? I wasn't kidding when I said it. It's quite impressive, all the things you are involved in and have done. So what led you into, like, becoming the president of the CEO club? Like, have you always known you wanted to major in this? And kind of what drew you into these? Like, what happened there?
Okay, so it's actually a funny story. I came into school as a bio major, and I wanted to be a veterinarian. And after my first semester, I was like, this isn't the level of commitment that I want to put towards this, because it was like 30 pages of reading a night, and I just knew my study habits, and I was like, no, this isn't what I want to do for the rest of my life, or at least the next 10 to 12 years of my life. So I decided to do a little, like, self-evaluation and just change my route and think about what I'm good at and what I do like to do. I like talking to people. I like networking. I like taking charge of things. I'm very artistic. So I decided to just get a business and art double major. And when I was, like, the art major came kind of easy for me, but the business one, I didn't know anybody in that department or in that major. And one day I was speaking to a friend of mine, and she said, hey, yeah, we have a club called CEO Club. And I heard about them before from, like, activities fairs. So I was like, okay, I'll look into it to, like, get more business major friends. And I just kind of joined that club, and yeah, I just kind of stayed with it.
Well, that's amazing. Very impressive. So what about art? What have you done for art? I know towards, like, the end of the year, I think students start hanging up their actual products and things like that. Tell me about that. Have you done anything like that?
Yeah, okay, so what you're referring to is a senior thesis, so it's for the senior art majors, and this year would be my year to be able to display my art and sell them. So right now I'm in an advanced painting class, so I'm creating work for my senior art show next semester, and the next semester we'll be taking our senior thesis where we're producing work for that as well. I'm just capitalizing on the both semesters to not kill 2 birds with 1 stone, basically. But yeah, so I particularly like painting and drawing and just all the hands-on traditional art. But I've also have learned and mastered, like, digital art as well. So if you need a graphic design, I can do it. I wouldn't like it, but but I can do it. I'm at least trained up to do it. Yeah.
Got the skills to do it. May not love it, but
yeah,
I'm still your girl no matter what.
Exactly.
Very impressive. Now, what are the plans for after graduation? Because you are a senior, time's coming up soon. So what are we doing with this major and then art? Are we putting those together? Like, what's the hopes for graduation?
So originally I wanted to go into medical illustrating, which is basically the graphics that you would see in medical textbooks and medical, like, diaries, or even in, like, court cases when they have to show, like, the progression of, like, injuries or stuff like that. I kind of changed routes at this point because I think I'm done with school that requires 2 years of grad school. So I am now looking more into just the illustrating world. And besides, like, just trying to capitalize on my 2 majors that I have, my business and art major. Also, I'm getting married, so I definitely, I
let
definitely
me see
have
the rock.
Here it is.
Oh, very beautiful. Very
yes,
beautiful.
Thank you. So that's definitely a number 1 plan for the future. So yeah.
That's awesome. Do we have, like, the weddings in plan? Is it gonna happen during the summer?
It's gonna be fall.
Oh, beautiful.
And probably either next year or the year after. But yeah.
Well, all right. Yeah. And final question for you. So where you were freshman year to where you thought you were gonna be a bio major, do this other stuff, and where you are now, how have you liked the changes? Do you like the changes you've seen in yourself?
I definitely do. Honestly, I came in with a very narrow mind, and now I'm very open-minded about a lot of topics and a lot of subjects being around so many people and having to be responsible of myself have like developed my understanding of how the world works, and I know now like I've definitely learned something while being at Bridgewater. Like I know more than what I thought. I thought I knew everything when I came in, basically, and now I don't know all there is to know.
Well,
So, yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming out, Danielle. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so
Enjoyed
much.
learning more about you. Congratulations on
Thank you.
the engagement.
Thank you.
And great job like with your involvement, and look forward to the future for you. I know you're going to do great things.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Y'all have a good night.
Shout out to Lexi and Danielle for coming out and doing that interview to give us a recap and look into the future of what's to hold for Bridgewater. Up next, we got our favorite segment, Squawk Talk, and unfortunately, Justin had prior obligations, but Holden is here, so have no fear. He'll be answering all the viewers' questions, so get ready to know everything you want to know about your favorite Squawk Talker, Holden Andrews.
Like my man Drake said, I'm Holden Andrews, and I am here without Justin tonight. Can you believe it? Because I sure can't. Alright, so like he said, we're going to be, fielding some viewers' questions, and to start, I'd like to give a little shout out to our old executive director, Raymond Alexander, for sending me in some questions. His first one, so what's your favorite TV show and why? Wow. Some people might say, Holden, your favorite TV show is The Office, but I gotta go with Doctor Who. It's, classic British television. You just got so many great actors, Peter Capaldi, David Tennant, Matt Smith. Can't go better. Can't get any better than that right there. His next question, what was it like to be a boom mic operator? For those of you that don't know, Raymond created, directed, shot, edited his own film for our Com 400 capstone, and yours truly had the pleasure of being the boom mic operator. So basically I just stood around and, held the microphone up for hours on end. But I gotta say, that was that's some of the most fun I've ever had, and to see someone just create is always interesting. It's always so cool, and the way Raymond did it, and it was just innovative. It was inspiring, really. And then his last question, which leads into another question I have from our listeners out there, is who's your favorite director? I think right now my favorite director is probably Wes Craven. He is the director of the Scream franchise. He really, aside from who directed Halloween, he really pioneered the slasher industry. But that question leads into another, which is 3 deceased people. Whom would you invite to dinner and why? So for this one, I'm just going to rule out family members, and we're going only famous people. We've got Wes Craven. We've got Thurman Munson. He was a catcher for the Yankees, and he died in a plane crash in his prime, really, which is a shame for the organization and obviously for his family. And then finally, Hunter S. Thompson, who I don't think he needs an introduction, but he wrote Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail. He's a very renowned journalist. He started long-form journalism, which is a longer narrative. So going into some of the questions from my family members, my sister Ashlyn asked me, why did you choose Bridgewater? And if I'm being honest, I got to chalk it all up to Dr. Jessica Brophy. We went to an open house, and Drake's giving me a little fist pump from his little booth back there. But Dr. Brophy, I don't know, there was a comm table in the funk, and I went up to it, and she was like, and we conversed back and forth over email, and she was just like, why do you want to be a journalist? And just kind of kicked off from there, and then having her as a professor, and then eventually working with her here at BC Voice, I was just a great time, and I miss her. Let's see. Favorite ice cream flavor? Breyers has this chocolate and Reese cup ice cream. It's spectacular. I love chocolate and peanut butter, so can't go wrong with that. Let's see. Moving on to Tristan's question. Favorite band? I always think your music taste should be changing, and you shouldn't only listen to one genre or one person. Strictly bands, I think either Laney or the 1975. I listen to pretty much everything. Led Zeppelin, John Bellion. I mean, if you throw it at me, I'll probably know at least one of their songs. Tristan also asked, do you prefer social media, television, or paper for news? With that one, I'm a legacy guy. I gotta go with an actual newspaper, and I know that contradicts BC Voice and our transition into this year, but there's nothing better than an actual newspaper and the pride you feel when you put it together. Tristan also asked, who has been your favorite interview with BC Voice and why? This is a tough one. I think it would be Dr. Hope Rias. She's an education professor here, and she's my favorite mainly because that interview, it was challenging for me. I was having to think up questions on the fly, and just a lot of it wasn't my typical interview either. It was just she gave great answers, but you had to pull more out of her, and I think that's a mark of a good journalist when you can get good questions and things like that. Let's see. Hannah asked me what your major would be if not communications, and what would you do with it? I think I'd have to go. I know this is kind of in the same vein, but I'd want to be an art major, and I'd focus on photography and videography, and I'd love to be a documentarian. I think that'd be really cool. My roommate Brett Leischer asked, what's your favorite color? My favorite color is I think a hunter green or maybe a Kelly green. Depends on my mood. Let's see. Professor Dewey asked for a travel destination on my bucket list. I've always wanted to do the walk to Mordor. It's in New Zealand. You just basically follow the path of the film, which, I mean, what's cooler than that right there? She also asked for my favorite KCC vegetable. And, I know Justin and I have talked about KCC hacks and, what we like out of the K and stuff like that. But I think, and this is a new addition for me, the buffalo or bang bang cauliflower. I don't know if y'all have had that out there, but it's so good. They managed to get nice flavor, a decent crunch, and then you just put some ranch on it. It's the best. Tristan also asked, who would you like to interview on campus that you haven't yet? And it's a tough one because I've done a lot of interviews, but I think it would have to be the provost, Dr. Sevick. I just think she would give a interesting look on campus, and no one really interviews her, talks to her a whole lot outside of her job, obviously. But I think that'd be a pretty good one right there. One of my other roommates asked if I could swap lives with a celebrity. Who would it be? I think this one's tough too. My first response would be John Krasinski. He's famous for The Office and A Quiet Place, and he's married to Emily Blunt. I think he'd be a good one. He's got a nice beard, and I think I do too. So yeah, I think John Krasinski for that one right there. Hannah also asked, who is my favorite journalist? I think currently writing, it would be Paul Jose Lewis for The Guardian. I remember I took a Com 355 with Brophy, and he wrote this piece on gun violence at a hospital in Pennsylvania, and it was all about the doctor who'd been there, and it was just beautifully written. The photos to go along with it were just magnificent. It's a great piece. He's a great writer. I think he's an editor now as well, which is pretty cool. Let's see, what else do we have? Tristan also asked, if you could interview anyone in history, who would it be? And that's a tough one too. There's just so many good people. I think that I think a good interview would be Mark Hamill. He played Luke Skywalker. I think he'd have an interesting perspective on life, especially he's played the Joker for years. I wonder what he would think of the new movie. Yeah. Dewey also asked me if I could impart to my viewers the best advice you were ever given, or advice you would give your first-year self. And I think this works in both categories. I would say not to rush. I have a tendency to dive headfirst into things, and that's not always that. It's not always the best, And I think not rushing through college, not rushing through life, just going with the flow and taking things as they come is a good lesson for everyone to learn. But let's see. I think I've got time for one more question. Favorite EP event on campus has to be, without a doubt, laser tag. It is fun, it is awesome, and Drake's given me the finger, so I think that's time for me to go. Thank you, Bridgewater, for this little viewer questionnaire interview with Holden, and hopefully Justin will be back here next week. In the meantime, drink your coffee black.
All right, shout out Holden, holding down Squawk Talk while Justin was gone. He had to go through it, and one of the last things he ended on is such a crucial thing. Remember to take things slow. Don't rush through it. Take your time and enjoy the process. Up next, we have BC Sports, where Brandon Wells and Jacob Haugh are going to go ahead and run through the fall sports teams here at Bridgewater College, talking about how they finished, how they're performing, how they might look next year, and finally a preview for the football playoffs, because our BC Eagles are nationally ranked. Hail Eagles, and we're going to go ahead and give it away now.
Good afternoon, everyone. As always, my name is Brandon Wells, and joining me is Jacob Haugh. Just want to give a quick side shout out to my boy Raymond Alexander. Got your letter. Thank you very much. I had no other way to contact you, and I know you're listening. Moving forward, there's a lot of sports going on right now, or are just now ending. First one we always talk about, men's soccer. Season's over. They finished the regular season record at 5-12-1, so that's one tie. They lost in the first round of the ODAC tournament, which was kind of a miracle they got in the first place, but they lost to Randolph College, and they graduated 6 seniors. So their team is moderately young. They have a lot of returning players, but they're losing a lot of their big stars.
I got to talk to Thomas White, and what he explained to me is a lot of injuries and a lot of mistakes this year, and stuff they want to build off of. And just moving forward, you got to look at this team when they're young. So you got to look at the future and see what you have. 5-12-1 is nowhere where you want to be, but there's the positive of making the tournament. And you did lose to Randolph, but look towards the future. There's always a positive to things. Even if you don't win a game, you're still going to learn. And those guys are going to remember that bad season and want to build off of it. Those 6 graduating seniors, it could be a big impact or a big opportunity for some of these young guys to come up. So it just depends on how you look at it. And then on the flip side of the coin, you have women's soccer. They ended the year at 12-7-2. They lost in the second round of the ODAC tournament to undefeated Randolph-Macon in overtime by 1. That was a nail-biter. They have 8 graduating seniors. And with Haugh and Sidney Ryan out there, those guys are your leaders of the team. So you wonder who's going to step up. Like, this team has been solid for a couple years now, and now it's in the hands of these young girls and these young women, just trying to move forward. And the way I see it is, who's going to take that opportunity and run with it? You have your goalkeeper returning, but on the offensive end of the ball, it's up in the air.
I think this women's soccer team for Bridgewater was the dark horse of the ODAC this year. They came in right about the middle of the pad. They didn't have super high expectations, but they weren't projected to be bad. They started out the season kind of disappointingly slow, and then they really picked up, including a thriller victory over undefeated Washington and Lee at the end of the season, and they end up getting the 4th seed in the ODAC tournament, shocking most of the conference. They came in 1 against Roanoke College in a pretty good game nonetheless, and they came out and they fought a hard game against undefeated Randolph-Macon. They went into overtime, scoreless, and that team showed good discipline. They have a good future, I think, moving forward, even though they're graduating most of their good players. But I think these young people pretty much, they saw an example of how to build and move forward and improve going forward. So I don't think all is lost, even though it's a very young team. I think they'll be good in the future. Field hockey, 5-14 to end the season, 6 graduating seniors, but a couple shout-outs to a couple players who made the all-conference team. We have Corrine Moyer, Georgia Howard, Jacqueline DeFulvio, and Courtney Cook. They were all named to the all-team postseason conference honors. It wasn't a great season for field hockey, but at least they had something to come away with it.
Yeah, the way you got to look at it is those sisters out there. Excuse me, I forgot their name, but there's 2 sisters on this team, and they both play extremely well together. I think you got to build around them in their senior year next year. It's Carron, and I forgot the other young lady's name, but those two are like dynamite on the field together, and I think that moving forward with all these teams, you got to look at your future. This season's done. It's over with. It's like any sport. In the offseason, you got to improve, and 5-14 is not where you want to be, but oh well, move forward.
Volleyball finished the season 23-7, and it's sad to say their season is also over. They lost in the first round of the ODAT tournament to Washington Elite, kind of a surprising game there. They lost 2-1 in the sets. They're only graduating 3 seniors, but they're good seniors. And they had a couple players who got ODAT conference awards. Rachel Gaston, which is one of the graduating, got Player of the Year, which is very impressive. And then Taylor McNeely, Grace Hayes, and Emily Hanger got first, second, and third team all in the ODAT conference.
Yeah, a lot of talent, and this is your classic, oh my goodness, we're an extremely good team, get to the playoffs, and splat. It's sad. They have a lot of talent moving forward, and I'm interested to see what they do now. Like you said, 3 graduating seniors isn't a lot, but that's your leadership sometimes, and I want to see who steps up, and this volleyball team has a very bright future. If we move to men's basketball, potential is the key word. They have lost 2 games, but they were scrimmages against Division I teams, and that's Delaware and Radford, so you can't really count those. They're not counted on their overall record. They have the new head coach, Steve Enright, basically a fresh and tapped into starting lineup with the exception of DZ and Ace Murray. I think that these guys will rally around one another for a solid season. Whether or not they make into a run into the playoffs is all about chemistry. One thing that I've been here for 3 years that I've always seen this team lack is chemistry and ball movement, and that's because they always designate a star player. And when it comes to this team, I can't really designate one player.
Yeah.
The way I see it is this team's got to play team basketball if they want to win.
I think this team is looking a lot like the men's soccer team. They have a decent team, but I'm not sure if the record is going to impact it. Again, it's a long season ahead. Stephen Wright, he's worked a little bit with the team in the past. He's done some recruiting work for them, but his first year head coach, and when you're a first year head coach at any program, at any level, your expectations aren't through the roof. I think that this may be a little slower season for Bridgewater, but hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully they can turn it around and get a couple upset victories in the future and hopefully make it into the postseason at some point. Women's basketball finished last season 14-12 winning record. They're 0-1 right now. They lost to Southern Virginia. It's not a terrible loss, but it is a conference game. And their next game is this Saturday against Gettysburg, which is one they should win.
I want to put some input on that loss last night. I wasn't able to tune into the entire game, but I got to watch some of the highlights and talk to some people got to watch, talk to some of the team. And the vibe that I'm getting, not from the team, but from some of the fans is that it wasn't, not that it's not coached well, but it wasn't managed well. And that substitutions are key, and who you're going to start is key. And when does this become critical? And when does it become damaging? Your highest score, she may have gotten into foul trouble, but 29 points. She comes off the bench, and you know about her. I don't see any head coach starting your leading scorer and your star of the team off the bench. That doesn't make sense to me. Probably the wackiest thing I saw as a coach decision is Nina got to go in the game. She shot 2 free throws 30 seconds in and then got pulled out of the game. I don't think that's a good culture to set for your team.
Yeah.
I think if you want to set the tone early for this basketball team, you got to say that everybody gets involved. And that's with substitutions, getting their rotation set. You don't have Erica back yet because of her ACL. You'll get her back in January. But I think this team has a bright future. I just don't want the management of it to get in the way of that.
I think what this team is trying to do is I don't think they have their starting lineup fully fleshed out. And I think that they know they have some talent on that team, and they're trying to prove that they have depth. Not only that, they don't need a pure starting lineup because they have depth. And if they constantly rotate people in and out, I think they're hoping for higher energy. And I don't know if it's going to pay off for them in the end, but I can see where they're getting at.
The ODAC bounces off of a strong starting 5. One problem that was for the men's basketball team last year is they had a solid starting 5. And then when you looked at their bench, none of them played, or when they went in, it was watching a freshman play in high school, and he looked like he looked like a deer in headlights. That's basically what it looked like.
But again, how did that end up for men's basketball? They had a losing record last season.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the substitutions were the
Yeah.
problem. So, like, I think with women's basketball, if you try to incorporate that more, get a rotation set, and have a good starting five, then you have the solution. I don't think that what they did last night was productive. I think you can build off it, though.
Live and learn.
Yes. And now moving on to golf. They are finished until March. They have good individual performances this year. But they're good in big invitationals, but as a team, they're not really flashy. Thoughts?
Bridgewater Golf has always had star in the ODAC. They've always had star ODAC players in Bridgewater as far as individual. I cannot remember my words right now. Sorry about that. But they've always had stars on this team. They've produced in the past seasons very well. I think that come March, I think they can clean up some of the things they've been doing. But I could see this team building upon it. Like I said, go to big invitationals, which is huge. It shows that this team has promise, and they have performers on this team. And hopefully they can pull it together. And come March, they could be the powerhouse in the conference.
Shout out to ring season for men's outdoor track and field. They just got him.
Absolutely.
Devontae Womack, big shout out. One of the best athletes to ever come through Bridgewater College. Congratulations. You got your national ring. It looks beautiful. Moving on to women's swimming, they got a strong start to the season. Got to have a strong start to the season. They have 3 losses right now, and they just lost to Randolph-Macon, so like their competition is rough right away. But their next meet is against Ferrum on Friday, and if you base it off of all the other sports, which you can't, we normally have a good time against Ferrum, but we'll see how that one turns out.
As far as the women's swimming team goes, that the games they've won, they've dominated. The games they've lost, they lost pretty bad.
Meets, yeah.
Yeah, the meets, exactly. But they got to come together and find a middle ground.
Men's swimming, they're winless right now. Next meet is also against Ferrum on Friday. And now, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get to you guys. Shout out to the ODAC champion football team. 9-0, 7 in the conference. They're ODAC champions, the first time in 2005, under Clark, by the way. Rashawn Myers, I'm sorry, is that Defensive Player of the Week?
Myers, yep.
And then
ODAC Defensive Player of the Week.
Yep. And then you have Demetrius Delepes, who won ODAC Offensive Player of the Week.
Yep.
Both of those guys are ridiculous. Their next home game is against Guilford on Saturday at 1 p.m. Jay Scroggins is now all-time passing touchdown leader for the college. Great accomplishment. Very high congratulations, Jay. Then this team is nationally ranked 22nd by AFCA Coaches Poll and 21st in D3Football.com's Top 25 poll, and the first undefeated team since the 2001 Stag Bowl roster. Knock on wood. One thing I want to say about this team. Everyone was talking, well, Macon's got their number. From what I was talking to one of my broadcast partners, Carl, about, or some other people that have watched this team the past 2 years, is that they had Macon last year.
Yeah.
And some two very poorly timed penalties cost them that football game last year. And Bridgewater had one heck of a start to this football game. 21-0. It looked like their freshman quarterback for Randolph-Macon was seeing stars. Or shout out to Sam Darnold seeing ghosts. It was bad. It did not look good for Macon. And in the second half, if you were a Bridgewater fan, you were a little worried for a little bit. They threw in their senior back into the system. And he came out there, threw some dimes. But I still struggle to see a formula to beat these Eagles. I do, because their defense is solid. You got to build a offense around your running back and your quarterback. They've done that. You got to build a defense around your middle linebackers and your outside linebackers, and they've done that. Ramey is playing ridiculous. Myers is playing ridiculous. You got Deshman Denny, and you also have Rosenthal. These kids are playing out of their mind. I don't think anybody in the ODAC can stop them. It's all about now, once they make these playoffs, which is guaranteed, by the way, shout out. Who's next? What's the competition? Because if this competition level isn't up to par in the ODAC, I want to see what they can do against guys that are just like them.
Well, we've seen it before. They beat Stevenson pretty heftily, and Stevenson, by the way, ranked now.
Yep.
They're ranked, which helps Bridgewater seeding a lot here in the playoffs. Because not only did we beat Stevenson, we beat them pretty good. And the Randolph-Macon scored. It was the closest game of the season. We won by a touchdown, but
it was at the end of the game.
It was more than that. It was a garbage
game.
time touchdown. The kid's an onside kick, and we recovered because that's what he's supposed
Trace
to do.
Rosenthal also had an interception. And one thing I always say is you can't go after somebody for IQ when they're in the middle of an intense play. And he decided to run it back, and he fumbled the football.
Yep.
That's not his fault at all. I mean, I think that you get out of bounds as much as you can or kneel. But Rosenthal made that choice. They fumbled the football, and Macon got another opportunity to go and make it, I believe, 21-28. But they also had to get an onside kick. So there was a lot of variables that played out there. I think this game definitely felt more of a 28-14 type victory. I don't think it was as close as it looks.
Yeah.
So if your other team's looking at this and you don't look at film and you think, okay, Macon kind of beat them, let's look at the strategy they used, you're going to be sorry.
If Bridgewater can figure it out on the offensive line, it's been their biggest problem on your offensive line. They really struggled in the run game up until last game where Meach finally got going. If they can fix this offensive line in the postseason, no one can stop them. They're nationally ranked for a reason. They're talented at every single position. The offensive line's a little weak. They need to come together on that. And if they're going to progress and get to the Stag Bowl like they did last time they were undefeated, then national championship is ours.
I think we can't say that. I think you don't know the other teams left. But I think you got to look at the future and say, okay, take these opponents one at a time. Take Guilford. Do not overlook them. Win this football game, then go into the playoffs, have that mindset. Let's go to the national championship and win every game one by one.
That's one thing Coach Clark has preached all season.
Yep.
One game at a time. Don't look too forward. It's when we were playing Hampton Sidney, right now Hampton's in the back of your mind, but we were concentrating on Hampton Sidney and so forth with Washington and Lee, with Emory and Henry.
Any team.
Absolutely.
As always, my name is Jacob Haugh.
And it's been a pleasure spending this time with you, and my name is Brandon Wells.
And this was BC Sports.
Shout out to Brandon and Jacob for giving us the rundown on BC Sports. And all I got to say is size those boys up. Whoever you put in front of them is going down. Hail Eagles. Up next, man, we got the Politicast with Kamara and Joe Carron. It's everything up to date with the latest news on the President of the United States as well as upcoming elections. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and give it away to them.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Joe.
Good afternoon, Bridgewater. It's your man, Mo.
And we're going to talk about some politics today, just the latest stuff kind of going on, U.S., international.
A lot going on, man.
Mo, what's something going on?
Well, CNN.com cited my source just to start off with it. We have today being the first day of the public impeachment hearings on our president. So, basically, we had... U.S. diplomat Bill Taylor of the State Department, who was a diplomat to Ukraine, pretty much testified before Congress, saying that Trump made a phone call to certain members of the Ukrainian government asking for them to speak up on corruption charges.
Trump, like, talking to Ukraine is a big deal in this. The kind of story right now is Hunter Biden, the son of Joe Biden. He was working at a company in Ukraine, and Trump allegedly he wanted to get dirt on him, so he appealed to Ukraine to give them dirt about Hunter Biden to kind of.
You feel like getting dirt on you. So let's put in the case example. That let's say they find dirt of something that's real. Let's say it's something that's really wrong, like some actual corruption.
Some corruption going on.
So then, in that case, would it be justified, or do you think that just any type of information seeking on a opponent, political rival? Because
what Trump is trying to do, he's using his position as the president of the United States to further his own agendas with like at least with the quid pro quo thing, like withholding money from Ukraine. He's doing that to try to further his own position, his own agendas. So I mean that's definitely unethical for like the president of the U.S. I mean whether or not he's right and he does find some corruption, that's another thing. But I mean he needs to leave that up to like some I don't know, the FBI or something. That's not his job.
Obviously the president of the United States has a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
But it's the reason why you're the president and not in the CIA. So, yeah,
Right.
But another cool thing, or just interesting to see, was how Congress is the one that conducting the hearing. So it's members on both sides asking questions of members of both sides.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to see how the bureaucracy's examining itself, and all this is being followed very closely by the national media.
You mean both Democrats and Republicans are studying both sides? Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's not like just a partisan thing going on. Like I think both Democrats and Republicans are working together to try to get to the bottom of what's going on. I think they're doing a good job there. So we also got Brexit.
Across the pond.
Yeah,
what's going on over there, man?
Big things going on in Brexit. December 12th, there's going to be a general election to decide what's going to happen with that. And that could lead to one of several possibilities. There could be a referendum, which is where just the people, the general public of the UK, they vote on whether they want to leave or stay in the EU.
So for a while now, the referendum vote happened in 2016, and it's been a process of them trying to actually get it all the way through to leave the EU, and still they haven't. They've gone through a Prime Minister Theresa May's been fired. Now they have the new guy, Bo Johnson.
Yeah.
So he's here, and they're trying to pass it. They still can't get it across, but it is interesting to see how, and because it's Parliament and their government's system is different, they're going to be voting on it till literally the majority is overwhelming. So they're going to be on that for a while. So it's always interesting to see what they're going on across the pond.
I think I'm like this. It's moving forward. They're coming to a decision, but I think we're definitely far from the end of that. I think there's still a lot of deciding and voting to be done on that. But it is moving along.
Another little dot, just some little interesting that I thought just popped up. Russia's President Putin, the supreme leader, is working on a massive Arctic military base. So they're looking to
where's he trying to build that? It's
going to be in the South Arctic. They're going to try to plant a Russian military base, and it's foreshadowing their ideas for the region. So do you think America should take this and get on the offensive and start at least, I'm not saying offensive towards Russia, but towards the Arctic, the last frontier? Should they maybe grab a piece of land? Do you think? What do you think? You think we got a 52nd state?
I think we're fine in terms of military power. I mean, as far as I know, the U.S. is the top military power in the world.
Other lands to conquer.
What's that?
It's more land to conquer. It's space. The Arctic's up for grabs. Who's gonna grab them?
I mean, I don't think that should be where we're putting our money at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I think keeping an eye on it.
Upcoming election.
Yeah, I think.
So, all these talking points.
Another one. The November 5th. As of the November 5th elections, Virginia switched from being a red Republican state to being
conservatives and Democrat.
To a blue
that was
Democrat state.
We did see that.
And that was the elections for I believe state Senate and the House of Representatives.
Got another little thing from MSN News reporting that something that's been nagging Trump along his journey from the beginning of his declaring for election is his tax records. Lots of people have been on him about releasing his tax records, which technically the president is not allowed. He's not forced to. He doesn't have to.
Yeah.
But it's customary that presidents do to show they're not hiding nothing economically. So all this time he's been able to hold him down, but appeal court has finally ordered that Congress can have access to 8 years of his tax records, and that just passed this earlier today. So they call it a separation of power conflict.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's interesting to see how he's gonna do on that.
Yeah, I mean, when something like an impeachment comes up, they're gonna go digging. They're gonna try to find everything they can get to come to a good decision about it. And that's all we got.
It's looking like today that's it for today's
Politicast.
Today's
Politicast. Give you the rundown.
It's Joe and Mo.
It's Mo, Joe and Mo.
And I'm Mo.
Signing out.
Shout out Mo and Joe. That's kind of a tongue twister. You say it fast enough, man. Up next, we got Cinema Talk with Ayinde Roberts, Brandon Wells, and Ian Rhodes, where they're going to be talking about a lot of different things in the cinema world. The disappointing box office results of the latest Terminator film is probably what's going to shock a lot of people. The Joker will soon gross $1 billion, and also the Mandalorian episode, first episode. Thoughts? Here they are to take it away.
Hello, I'm Ian Rhodes.
My name is Ayinde.
And I'm Brandon. I want to give a shout out to our host Drake, sounding like a Chuck E. Cheese announcer over the intercom.
Love it.
I believe this is our second edition of Cinema Talk.
Yep.
Second or third. Anyways, this is the segment where we talk about movies, everything movie related, movie news, movie money, and we have a lot to talk about, so let's just go ahead and start getting some stuff out the way. Some really big box office news. Well, it's small, but it's still worth talking about. Terminator Dark Fate came out last weekend to pretty lukewarm critical reception. However, in terms of like its opening weekend, it's the weakest Terminator film at $29 million. And studio expectations were at the upper 40s.
Not surprising.
What happened?
Not surprising,
I don't
especially
know.
what happens in the opening sequence of the film.
I am going to say that there is something that needs to be talked about in this film, and it's a minor. It's not even a minor spoiler. It is a spoiler, but it's so egregious that you have to be able to talk about it.
Close your ears for 15 seconds if you don't want spoilers.
3, 2, 1. They kill John Connor.
In literally the opening sequence of the film. Yes.
Exactly.
Drake, we told you to close your ears.
Ugh.
And so you're left wondering what's next for the Terminator franchise. This is Terminator Genesis came out what 2015 and it made $55 million. Now we're sitting. This is almost half of that.
I don't know why the expectations of this movie were so high. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen the movie. There's a reason for that. It gave me no interest. It didn't look good. It looked boring. It felt like an unnecessary movie that didn't need to be made. And I don't want to give my cash to a movie that I'm just questioning, why is this made?
And then people find out what happens at the beginning of the film. They're like, I have no reason to watch this at all because it basically destroys Terminator 2 completely.
Yeah, and it validates everything that movie worked for. But that's not the only movie money news that we got. This one is a very happy one. One of the biggest films of the year is Warner Brothers' Joker, and it is
so good.
1 weekend away from being the first rated R film to gross over $1 billion. This is a huge win for Warner Brothers. Where do they go from here?
Well deserved, might I say. This Joker movie was great. Casting choice great. The directing amazing. All the artistic decisions they made hit. They had no misses in this film. It was a spectacular.
Listen,
piece
I'm
of
gonna say
cinema.
this.
It really was.
I don't always dress up as supervillains. But this year I made an exception. So if you remember a kid walking around campus in a suit and clown makeup, that was me. And that's what that film does. It's such a fantastic film. It's Joaquin Phoenix. He better get the Oscar this year. And if he doesn't, there is something wrong with the Academy.
Gotta say, Ayinde, you looked good in that costume.
You really
looked
did.
really good in that makeup get-up.
Yeah, you did.
Listen, I'm not gonna give myself that credit. I'm giving the credit to the guys who made the costume and a couple of my friends who did my makeup. I have nothing to do with that. I'm just the body.
I'm really glad that Joker is such a successful film because before it even came out, people were saying, even before it started, when it got announced they're going to make a Joker movie, how can a Joker movie be good without Batman? And who even cares about Joker, his origin story? No one's going to go see it. And now this movie is one of the best movies that came out this year, and it's going to be crossing $1 billion after
one of the best. I argue it's right under Parasite. As the best movie.
Oh, it's so good.
It's like neck and neck with that movie. And Parasite's phenomenal. If you haven't seen it,
go see it.
Watch it. It's great. So that's all of our movie news. Not much else to talk about. Now let's get into something that we're all really big fans of here at Cinema Talk. And that's Star Wars.
So, The Mandalorian.
Yeah,
The Mandalorian.
Episode 1 that came out
yesterday
on
Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm. The service is now online, barring a couple issues that had happened day one. People have been talking about The Mandalorian. let's talk about episode 1.
It's dark. It's a really dark show, and I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, you see the Star Wars product that we've gotten nowadays. Like you would not expect to see what we got out of the Mandalorian in this show.
The Star Wars now is very Marvel-fied with a bunch of nonsense jokes that you get in the recent Marvel films, especially in Last Jedi, and in the Mandalorian. It's a really serious, dark, like Western show.
And even the humor in the Mandalorian, it still had there's a cynicism to it.
Yeah, it felt natural.
I think that this show is going in a good direction. There's only one episode out now, so we'll see where the rest of the season goes. So far, I think the casting is great. I think that Oberyn Martell is doing a great job as Mandalorian.
Pedro Pascal, yes, I love him.
His name escaped me, so I went over it. But
you're good, man.
I think it's a TV show, so I think the CGI could have been better. But again, it's a TV show. You got to work
And
with
even
the budget
then-
you got, and the ending. Cliffhanger, it's a TV show, of course it'll have a cliffhanger, and I think we have mixed opinions here about the ending of the episode.
I want to piggyback off of something you just said about the visual effects. Again, like you were just saying, it's a TV show, so you're not gonna have the best effects, but this is still also a Disney property. It's a Star Wars property, so you're gonna have money. But I really love the fact that they really don't. They use CGI for what 2 or 3 moments.
Yeah, basically the ship. Basically, just the ship.
Whatever
those creatures were.
Yeah, but really they used a lot of
practical effects.
Yeah, it was a lot of practical effects, a lot of prosthetic makeup, and that is what really gave it that really gritty Star Wars feel.
That's true. They went a little bit more of the Muppet feel from the OG Star Wars, and I did appreciate that to a point. I liked. Star Wars is one of the few series I can get away with bad CGI because it's born from that era, and it kind of gives people that nostalgic feeling, and it brings in the crowds.
Yeah, and obviously, like we were just talking about the ending. I know, Ian,
I thought it was just kind of the only reason why they had the certain creature as in it is because it's.
Yeah, I can understand that. I think for me, it opens up a lot of doors to the Star Wars lore that people are not familiar with. Like we have, there's always been like very references to this particular species, but we really never got any information of that through the movie, through like any of like the source material that is now canon. I mean, yeah, we get it through the books, but books are AU, so they're not necessarily canon. Now we have a show that's going to possibly give us some sort of information about that, and not just about that species in particular, but that opens the doors to anything else in the Star Wars universe.
What I'm really surprised with the show is that he did not take his helmet off at all, and because he's such a big name actor, usually in superhero films, they normally take their mask off because the actor wants FaceTime to see themselves on screen, and he doesn't take his helmet off at all in this episode at all. I was really surprised.
I think Pascal said I don't think he takes off his helmet throughout the
which is honestly insane.
They teased it in the trailer. They teased.
Like, yeah, but I don't think we're gonna see it. I think you're gonna probably get.
You'll probably see it once. You'll probably see his face once in the whole season, probably at the end. That's honestly insane to me that this guy is agreeing to basically just use his voice. Basically, I love it. It's awesome. It's more realism because the Mandalorians never take off their helmets because they don't want people to know who they are and stuff. And that's honestly really awesome to see that on the show.
Yeah. There's one thing I want to rewind on. If we're done with the show real quick because we're running out of time, but I think we should bring more light on it. Disney Plus officially launched yesterday, which is what we watched Mandalorian off of, and could this be the future of TV and streaming? We already have Netflix, Amazon, Hulu. Those are the dominant
And then
houses.
HBO Max coming out in the summer.
And then Disney, I think, is joining the top 5. I think it's going to be an OG 5. I think there's going to be the 5 streaming services that I think are going to run the industry in the coming years. And there's a lot of things. Disney Plus already has it launched pretty much every Disney movie they've ever made.
Yep.
Lots of TV shows, all of the properties they own now, Star Wars, Marvel. They have a lot of TV shows coming out.
I was watching just on Disney Plus, but after I watched The Mandalorian, I was watching the OG X-Men series, like the old, like the 90s X-Men animated series. Like, I mean, yeah, it's so much streaming services. Like, they have the package where you have Hulu and Disney Plus, but like, You still going to have to get HBO Max. I'm going to have to get HBO Max. I have to get Netflix to get the Netflix originals.
It's almost as if, because when the streaming service first came out, it was like, oh, you don't have to pay for all these cable packages anymore because they're all on Netflix. And now there's all these different streaming services, so it's basically just buying cable again.
Yeah, that's why Bridgewater doesn't have cable anymore in our dorm rooms. But I think this
Not
is...
going that topic.
Oh, wow.
I think this is a sneaky decision by Disney to launch the streaming service when they did. Netflix is right there neck and neck of Disney with pretty much overall profits, and all Netflix does is pay for people to subscribe to them. The subscriptions. Disney Plus is already probably the most financial dominant powerhouse industry in the entire world, one of the. And now with the streaming service, they're going to have exactly what Netflix has. And Disney, I think, in a couple of years can own anything they want to own.
Yeah.
This streaming service could be the beginning of something that we've never seen before in the entertainment industry.
That whole with Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus, which is also part of the package, is what, for $13 a month. Now, honestly, that's a steal for three services.
Yeah.
Like I'm even gonna try and do that. Like, but yeah, but that's also kind of scary too. As Disney's it already has a hold on the box office market, and now we're just a streaming market. It's kind of really, really like. It makes me happy. It makes me happy to see like one of my favorite companies succeed, but at the same time, you gotta think, what's the competition is going to be so like it's now a matter of catching up. It's not like, oh, we're gonna try and be on equal footing like Netflix and Hulu were, because now you have Netflix and Hulu. They offer pretty much almost the same exact things, but also there's some things different. Like you don't get a lot of Hulu originals. But with like unlike Netflix, who is consistently churning out originals, like we got Witcher coming out soon.
Yes,
and Amazon's releasing a lot of originals too.
Yeah, and even Apple has its own streaming service. Like there's so much streaming, there's so many streaming services, and it's starting the market's starting to get really clogged, and that's kind of scary.
I really don't know if Netflix I don't know if it'll fall under because it has a bunch of their own original content, but since like HBO is bringing all their Warner Brothers properties to HBO Max, they're probably going to take them away from Netflix, and then Disney stuff is probably going to take away from Netflix. Yeah. So all these stuff that made Netflix so special is kind of falling away because they're all, these own companies are making their own streaming service for
so
all
do you
this
think
stuff.
Do you think Netflix is going to take a hit?
Maybe, but since they have so much original content, probably not.
Yeah,
because you have the Witcher show coming out.
Yeah, they got season
Stranger
4.
Things. People will stay for
Haunting
Stranger
of Hill
Things.
House season 2 is coming soon.
For Haunting, yes.
I heard that was really good.
Oh, it's so good. If you haven't seen Haunting of Hill House, Netflix original, stop listening to us and go watch it now.
Wait. We got some more time. Let's finish. Let's finish
listening to us.
Then go watch.
Yes.
But also you got Hulu, who is in terms of all the streaming services, like they're the forerunners of the anime scene. Like they're airing My Hero season 4.
So that's why they probably would stay because they have that anime content.
Hulu is going to be fine. Disney Plus obviously is going to be fine.
I really don't know about Apple though because
I don't think Apple's going to succeed.
Companies like NBC's releasing their own. They're not going to get any subscribers because what you need: Hulu, Netflix, maybe Amazon, and Disney.
Probably.
Do you need anything else?
Probably. Even Amazon.
Game of Thrones is over. You don't even need HBO anymore.
Well, when HBO Max comes out, they're gonna have the trump card. They'll have the trump card, and we all know what the trump card is. It's called the Snyder Cut.
Oh my. Okay.
HBO Max.
We're not talking about that here. If you want to know about that, listen to Ian's podcast, Through the Lens. It's on our website. Moving on.
Snyder Cut. That's all I gotta say. That's the trump card. Beats anything.
If you don't know what the Snyder Cut is, go listen to Ian's podcast.
It's a lot.
We have a little bit more time. Is there anything else that's really going on in the movie news that's worth talking about right now?
Well, Andy Serkis just got casted as
Alfred. Yes, he did, and I'm excited.
So am I.
Does that mean we're gonna get Colin Farrell?
Probably.
I'm really looking forward to the Batman.
It's gonna be amazing.
The Batman casting has been so far gangbusters. I'm completely sold on Robert Pattinson as Batman.
So am I. Absolutely. The Lighthouse.
Make me the contradictory decision there.
Oh, you don't like him?
I think we'll see. I don't think that he can be better than
Ben Affleck. I agree.
Yeah, I think Ben Affleck is better, and I don't know how DCU is gonna just kind of change the actors naturally. Do they have a plan for that? I'm not sure. Do they? As
a terrible movie once said, "Let the past die. Bury it if you have to."
Oh, the Star Wars dig. Oh, that's what we're doing.
Of course. Well,
that's been us for Cinema Talkers. We've had a great time tonight. Yeah. So, like I said, my name is Ayinde.
I'm Ian Rhodes.
And I'm Brandon Wells.
We'll see you guys later.
Shout out to Ayinde, Brandon, and Ian for that recap on the cinema talk and what's going on in the cinema world. I just gotta say one thing, Ayinde. Kinda mad at you for ruining the Terminator for me. It's spoil season, boys and girls. Up next, we have an athlete interview by ours truly, Mo Kamara. He'll be interviewing Anthony Morris on the recent ODAC championship that the football team has acquired with their undefeated record so far and their last victory over Randolph-Macon. So here they are to take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with your new 2019 ODAC champion, Anthony Morris. How you doing, man?
I'm feeling good.
How you doing, sir?
Doing good.
So, let me take a step back. Let's last year. Let's go a year back. 2018. Randolph-Macon game, man of the season. ODAC championship at Randolph-Macon. The crowd's crazy. Tell me what the experience was looking like before the game last year.
I mean, it was a great overall experience because the crowd was amping it up. We had fans, they had fans.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a great overall experience all around.
And the game went down to the wire. Ended up going in a couple halftimes. Unfortunately, we ended up on the losing side of it. Do you feel like that loss last year put some hunger in the team this year?
It definitely did because after that, we didn't lose another game.
So you haven't lost a game since that loss last year?
We have not.
So
meaning that was just motivation for
undefeated. Being an undefeated team, you know that every other team in the conference is gunning for you. So does it give you guys a chip on your shoulder, or do you feel like you have to continue working just as hard or even extra to stay on top of your game?
We feel like they still treat us as the underdogs because we feel like everything we got this year, we earned. We work for it every year. So we just grinding and keep grinding. So we just been doing what we supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel like the coaches have helped to a degree? The calling, they've been putting you on in positions to make plays. So overall, do you feel like the team's looking positively?
They're gonna put us in the best position to win,
Mm-hmm.
of course. So they know what position that we should be in because they know our attributes. Like they know what we can contribute to the team.
Uh-huh.
So they know what position everybody belongs in.
So we know you. You know you, my guy. I know you, an interior defensive lineman. When you see a quarterback, you push the nose tackle on his back. You throw him over. I see you get a smile on your face when I'm talking about it. Man, what's that feeling like? It just sacking the quarterback.
Go to my head for us. Eat him up.
Eat him up. You just want to eat him up, man. That's real great, man. That's great to see. That's great to hear about, man. So next week, who do you have coming up?
Guilford.
We have Guilford. So what if you could describe that game in one word? How you describing it? Brutal. You heard it live here first on BC Voice Fall on the broadcast tonight. Brutal. Is that your mentality coming into the game?
My mentality is coming in as we gotta do what we gotta do so we can have this home game for the playoffs coming up.
You're right. There are playoff implications with this undefeated season. So do you feel this new energy? How do you feel overall? Do you feel like the energy around the school and the support with the football team has been a nice pickup as we close out the semester?
I feel like, yeah, it does. The community definitely played a major part in our games because they the ones fill up the stands every week.
Mm-hmm.
So we gotta definitely appreciate the community showing support and motivating us to do better. So yeah, we definitely appreciate them.
That's one thing about Bridgewater. They do love their football. So, yes, last calendar game of the season. Last guaranteed game of the season. So, approaching the playoffs. What's your mindset for you, and how do you feel like the team's mindset is coming inside?
My mindset is, we hungry, bro.
Hungry.
We hungry, so...
Haven't been to the national championship since 2001. What are your feelings on that? Is it a NASA bus? What is it?
I feel we trying to rewrite history.
Rewrite history,
we trying
huh?
to do something different.
Just write a whole new book.
We know our team's different. Everybody on the team know we different. So we just trying to live up to our fullest potential.
Man, that's great to hear. That's good to hear. And as a sophomore and already playing a prominent role on the team, do you feel like this year's success and continuing success will continue and reflect into the next couple of years?
I feel like it is because we have a strong class, like, so we're learning from the upperclassmen. So we have a good, pretty like solid senior class. So I would have to say we learning from them. So like they're gonna pass down the tradition. So we just gonna learn from them and keep it rolling.
Understand. So we have the last game of the season on November 16th, senior day. You letting go of some seniors? If I can ask you one question, one senior who will be someone you will be remembering, if you could give one senior that you will remember, if you could put him above anyone else that you will remember that's graduating this year, that you feel has helped you along your way.
I mean, that had to be my boy Julius Grant.
You shout out your boy Julius Grant, man.
My dog. But another one probably had to be Rayshawn Myers and Gary Raymond because those are all my dogs.
You feel that they've helped you with the mental side of the game?
Definitely, all of them.
Slowing the game down.
They both knew I was like an incoming freshman. They all gave me guidance in the mental area on the field. So like they all helped with that process along the way. So that's why I appreciate them. I'm gonna remember them the most.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So we have a little time left. We know that as a man of football, you pay attention to football of all courses. So we had an anonymous tip come in saying that you were a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I am.
Oh, you are?
I am.
So the Pittsburgh Steelers have gone on a 4-game winning streak. They are now 5-4 in the AFC West, I believe. They're AFC North, sir. Oof. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, that's on me. The Pittsburgh Steelers out of the AFC North. How many Super Bowls do they have? 7. We might have to check that, but the Pittsburgh Steelers have 7 in his eyes. 6. He said it's cap. It should have been 7. Okay, man. But look, your team's on the upswing. Second in the division behind the illustrious Baltimore Ravens. Do you feel like if you could meet the Ravens in the playoffs, home or away, do you feel like your team could give them a run?
Of course we can give them a run because our defense is pretty solid. We can get to the quarterback. So our only worry would have to be containing him because he's a fast, mobile quarterback. So he get jiggy.
Get jiggy. You know, Lamar Jackson is taking the league by storm. But back to you. What are your feelings on this coming weather?
Man,
the weather this week.
This weather is outrageous. I don't know who they thought they were coming in town, making everybody cold, but it gotta stop. It's gotta stop.
It's gotta stop.
We gonna have to have a talk.
Would you say, as a football player, would you rather, as a defensive player, would you rather play in cold conditions? Would you rather play in the heat? Do you like wind, rain? What is the ideal football weather for Anthony Morris?
I like to play in the heat.
In the heat?
The cold is not for me. I definitely prefer the heat.
When you say heat, do you mean
sunny
SEC sunny day?
Sunny day.
You mean sunny day? You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with Anthony Morris, a.k.a. Sunny Day, a.k.a. Sweet Tea, by a private source from the football team. But we are proud of them. They are showing their success. They're taking the field by storm. And is there anything else you wanted to say to the Bridgewater audience?
Bundle up.
About this upcoming game on Saturday. Can you give us an expectation? Can you give us a little preview? What's it gonna look like?
I feel like it's gonna be an easy game.
An easy game.
That's me personally. I feel like we do everything we supposed to do, then we should roll through them and get ready for playoffs.
You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. It's your host Mohamed Kamara. I'm here. I'm with my guy Anthony Morris.
Anthony Morris.
Anthony Morris.
My phone went out.
So we'll all be watching. We wish him the best. And that's all on tonight's broadcast. Thank you and good.
All right, shout out to Mo for interviewing Anthony on the Eagles' successful season so far. You know, hail Eagles. Best of luck to you guys this week as well as the rest of the season because we know you guys are going to make a good playoff run. That's going to wrap up our broadcast here tonight. And as always, guys, make sure you enjoy the holidays coming up. Make sure you enjoy the time you get to spend with the loved ones and those that you are thankful for this Thanksgiving season. And even if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, just enjoy your time away from everything in your little own private getaway. This is your host, Drake, signing off. Be sure to tune in to our next broadcast. Again, I am your host. Peace and chicken grease, my dudes and dudettes. Enjoy your night and enjoy the rest of your week.